Let's create a custom jewelry set out of chipboard in HTV for St. Patrick's Day. It's fun, cost-effective, and you're not going to feel guilty if you only wear them once or twice. Hi, I'm Brenda Lambert. I'm a TJC licensed instructor for Silhouette. You found your way to Silhouette success, and I do hope that you're going to join our little crafting community. We'd absolutely love to have you. Now, on top of using chipboard and HTV to create these sets, I'm also going to show you how to take a file and manipulate it just a bit in the software. I came up with this design. It's super cute. It says pinch proof. There's a lot of information in this video today, so if everyone's ready, let's do this. Let's start by bringing in our file. We'll head up to File and then down to Merge. I'll be using the solid shape for the background of the earring, so let's bring that onto the mat. Go back to the main file, and then I'm going to use Shamrock Teardrop Earrings 2. Bring that onto the mat. I'm going to switch the background color, so once they're layered, we can see both layers better. We can select both of them and center. And there is our first earring. Go ahead and duplicate that. Right-click and flip horizontally. Now we have our set of earrings. Easy as that. I want to make a matching pendant for this. So again, we're going to go up to File and Merge. And this time I'm going to bring in Shamrock Teardrop Earrings File 3. Grab the SVG. And I'm going to enlarge this first so we can see what we're doing. But second, because it's going to be a pendant, it is going to be larger. Not this large, but it will be larger than these. Now for the pendant, I want to add some words. I'm going with pinch proof. And I've created 2 different text boxes because I want them in different fonts. Select pinch and open up our textile panel. I'll be using Autumn Beauty for pinch and PN Boogie Woogie for proof. We can bring these over here and kind of get them situated a little bit. Now we want pinch and proof to be connected throughout. With pinch, we need to ungroup the letters. We're also going to need to release the compound path on the I because we need to bring this little dot down a little bit here, so that'll be connected. And we're going to have to bump the P over just to where it's touching. Now everything in the word is overlapping. We can select all of the letters in that little dot, right click and weld. So now this is all one piece, and we can scale this up just a little bit more so that all of the edges are touching the outside of the pendant. Now let's work on proof. These letters are not touching, so we can go over to character spacing and bump that down until everything is overlapping just a little bit. Once we zoom in, you can see that the P and the R are overlapping and the OOF is overlapping, but there's still a little gap in between the R and the O. So let's right click and ungroup that as well. I'm just going to select this middle O and bump it over a little bit. So now it's centered a little bit better and all of the letters are overlapping. We can select all of those, right click and weld. Now I'm going to go over and open up the warp panel. Proof is selected and I'm going to choose warp selected shapes. This brings up the orange boxes and the red and blue nodes, and these are used to adjust the shape. I want a few more points of adjustment along the bottom line here, so I'm going to increase the number of columns to 4. That gives me a center point that I can bring all the way down so that it's overlapping the outline of the pendant. When I'm working with the warp panel like this, I always start with the orange boxes, then I move on to the red nodes, and then I finish up with the blue. If you need to see your design a little bit better, you can click off of the element that you're working with, and all of the squares and nodes will go away. You can click back on it, and it will bring it all back up. Once I have clicked off of it, I can see that this bottom piece here looks a little bit funny, but I don't think it's going to matter because it's overlapping the outline. The middle of the O could come down just a little bit further. I think the rest of it looks pretty good.
Now you'll notice that most of the squares and dots have followed the outline of the pendant. Not exactly, but close. That'll give you a good idea as to where to start. I did not adjust the top row, so I left the second row alone as well. When you have everything set just the way you want it, you want to select all of the design. Let's back up 1 minute. We're going to need a background for this piece. Let's duplicate this and set it aside for just a second. Now we can select all of these pieces, right click and weld. Now for the background, we do not want this cut out here. I'm going to change the fill color to none, and we need to change our outline color so that we can see it again. By changing the fill color to none, it makes it easier to see all of the bits and pieces once you release the compound path. If this were still filled in with color, you'd have a harder time seeing where the lines were. We do not need this middle piece to cut, so we can right click and delete that. Select the circle and the outline of the pendant, right click and make a compound path. Add in our fill color, select both of these and center. And now we have a cute matching pendant to go with our earrings. This is a bit large, so let's scale it down. Right around 2.5 inches should be good. Now in the past when I've made jewelry sets like this, I've always used my X tool and some thin wood sheets to cut them out. But there are several different ways that you can do this to get it done with just your silhouette machine. And they're all going to be quicker and more cost effective than using wood for your base product. You can cut these out of craft foam, you can cut these out of faux leather, or you can cut them out of chipboard. And I'm going to be using chipboard today because it is the least expensive material that I could use and still get the look that I was going for. Let's go ahead and get our page set up and see how it went. My chipboard is letter size, so let's switch up our media size to letter. We'll need each one of these pieces cut out of chipboard, so let's start by separating them. I'm going to put the green layer down towards the bottom and the yellow layer up towards the top. If you set your page up this way, you can use the same setup when you cut out your HTV and you don't have to rearrange. We can go up to the send panel now. And if you are using a thinner chipboard, you can get this done with the auto blade. However, I have found that the blade depth of 4 is going to be a no-go. I actually started with a blade depth of 6 and 1 pass, and then I bumped it up to 8 and did another pass, and then I went to 10 and did 2 passes. Now, of course, this is going to depend on the thickness of your chipboard, but it is not an easy material to cut. Now we can get our mat set up and get started. This project was honestly a lot of experimentation. I had cut chipboard before on the Curio 2 with the 3mm craft blade, and it went really well. I wanted to see if I could get it cut with the auto blade on the Cameo 5, and it will get the job done as long as it's not thick chipboard. Here are the end results, and I did manage to get some nice clean edges with the settings that I mentioned earlier. I went on to cut out the HTV, I got it weeded, and pressed it with my mini iron, and this is the result of the HTV on chipboard.
There are so many possibilities with these silhouette machines, and I hope if you've learned anything today, it's to think outside of the box. You don't always have to follow suit. Change it up a little bit, use different materials, use different ways to get things done in the software, and you'll be amazed at what you come up with. Now go on and create something amazing, and I'll see you in the next video.